Hello, Lara.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay. Good.
Good. I was actually saying I watched your video the other day. I'm still getting through it, by the way. The one you shared on Udemy. And I love the color of your jacket that you were wearing in those videos. It's like similar to the one you're wearing now, but a little bit more lighter.
Brown.
Beige. But not a bad beige. Not a bad beige, a good beige.
It's a light beige.
A light beige, yeah. Light beige.
How are you doing otherwise? Doing well?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing a lot of hypnotherapy, which is I'm so excited about because I fell in love with it. I absolutely fell in love with it. So I'm doing lots of hypnotherapy. I think I'm doing that more than coaching actually at the moment. Of course, it's all the people who want to stop smoking and lose weight, but there are a couple of people which, that's the normal stuff. But what excites me is the people that want other types of healing, and anger management and all of that. So that really excites me. So I've been doing lots of that. So that's great.
What's nice about it, if you get into it, you can get extremely creative with it. And that's the cool part of it.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I took your advice when you said there are people that write scripts, because I find the script writing takes a hell of a long time. Yeah. So I found a site where I can get scripts and then modify them. So it does 80% of the work, and then I modify them to my client. And it just takes, otherwise the cost is just, the payment for the session is just not worth it with the amount of labor you have to put in. So it works for me. So I'm doing that. So I'm taking the scripts and modifying them. And it's really working. So watch this space.
Build your folder of scripts. But protected. I built a beautiful folder. And when I was still training from the office, the one day I looked at my folder and something didn't look right.
No.
Students in the classroom just emptied my folder and sort of picked which scripts they wanted and took them and left. So I lost quite a lot there. All right.
Yes, that's not cool.
Hello, Yvonne, morning. Steph, morning. Penny, morning. This is Masters, cameras on preferably. We are 9 o'clock. Let's get the party started.
Hi, Dion.
Are you, Penny? Are you
Good,
well?
thanks to you. Very well, thanks.
Nice to see you guys here. Long time no see. Fatima, hello there.
Hi, Dion. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited about this one.
Same
we
here,
are a nice, compact group, so that's good. It means we can go intense. Steph, good morning. Smile. Are you there?
I've got problems with my technology yet this morning.
I've also got problems with my technology. My light just doesn't want to play with me today. It's like everything looks dark. But I think it's because it's dark outside. I don't know. What problems are you having, Stephanie?
Pardon?
What problems are you having?
What province?
Problem.
Oh, no, I was going to work from my office, and then I decided, no, I'm just going to work from home. Then I don't have to carry stuff around, and nothing is really set up at home anymore. So it took longer to set up everything than I...
You come across fine. I don't see anything wrong.
But this is just going to have to do for today. I'm excited.
We're going to go deep in the next couple of days. I hope you guys are just thinking caps on. All right, let's start this party. Yvonne, I see your camera's not on. If you could get it on, it is Masters. I would prefer if you guys can be on. Are you here, Yvonne? Can we just get an emoji or something? There we go. All right, let's get this party started. I think you guys know who I am. You must have met me before, somewhere along the line. Some of you guys met me face to face. Some of you guys met me only on a Zoom link, so that's fine. I think, Laura, you're the only one that's met me face to face, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, many years ago when you were in Fairlands.
Yeah, Penny, yeah. All right, let's just get you guys to say hello, who you are. I want you guys to tell us who you are. What certification have you got already? And you know, are you busy? Let's hear that first. So Laura, let's start off with you. I know you're busy, hypno, but let's get some feedback. When did you do your course originally, and what have you done so far?
So I did the NLP coaching course in 2016. I look back to when it was. I and I've been wanting to do I wanted to do the hypnotherapy course, but you struggle to get people together to make it viable. So, I did that, and I actually used the coaching more in my training that I was doing. So doing business analysis training. So I'd used it more in training than actually doing coaching sessions. And then when we got locked down and you went online, it was, of course, much easier for me to attend programs with you because the travel factor was removed. And then I did the business and executive coaching course with you guys. I did that. I did the creativity coaching course with you guys. And I did the abundance coach course with you guys, which I'm still submitting one client. I find that all the clients are just, when you say abundance, they just think money. Yep. So of course, when you're trying to get them to talk about other stuff and other abundance stuff in their life, that's where it sort of falls short. And if, when you're trying to get them, like me, I give free sessions to those people that help me get my certificates and whatever. They really don't, they don't come to the party unless they've paid themselves, if you know what I'm saying, unless it's money of their own. But also last year, I did the hypnotherapy course.
Commitment.
Yeah, exactly. And last year, I did the hypnotherapy course with you guys too, that was, for me, the most profound course that I've done with you guys. I realized I've been supposed to be doing that since 2004, when I actually created my company name after a meditation I did when I came back from Peru, which is also an interesting story that maybe we'll get into. I initiated into the ancient Inca tradition, and they gave me the name of, in English, translated, it means talking wind. Or wind talking.
Oh.
So, and I didn't know, I didn't make the connection.
I love that. How do you pronounce it in Inca? Can you pronounce it?
Yes, Waira Rimach.
Waira Rimach.
Waira is wind and Rimach is talking. So that they switch the words around, yeah. So Waira Rimach. And then I did a meditation.
The fact you talk a lot. I mean,
that's part of it, I'm sure. and then I actually did a meditation, and I came up with my company name, and I registered my company, which was Most Innermost. And only when I did your hypnotherapy course did it go, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm absolutely passionate about it. And that's what I've been doing most since then, a lot of it.
Isn't it fascinating if you look back and you realize how diverse this industry actually is? I mean, it's really diverse. There's so many directions and areas and niche markets and things that people can do. It's incredible. The industry is actually larger than most people, especially when you come in the beginning. You look at coaching, well, you see it as a very small type of process, but it's actually an extremely diverse industry. So that's cool. I'm happy for you, Laura.
Thanks, Dion.
I love it. I'm happy. Good job.
And now I'm here, so excellent.
Yeah, now you're here. All right, Fatima, give us your background.
Okay, hi guys. So basically I studied psychology and I completed my honors. after completing my honors, whilst completing my honors, I had a daughter. And so I didn't really go forward with masters because I felt like it was too much for me. I went through a bit of a tough patch in my own life and I found life coaching, and I decided that, you know what, I actually want to become a life coach. So I found Action Factory, and in March this year, I did the life coaching course. And ever since then, I really, really wanted to do the masters because I just found the combined NLP and life coaching so interesting. I've been using that a lot in my sessions. I do mostly online sessions since March, and love the techniques. I use it like almost in every session. Yeah, and then I registered as a counselor, and yeah, that's basically, I do a few other courses like with other life coaches, but not so much to become to practice life coaching, more their courses. It's interesting for me because I learn so much, firstly, for my own self-growth, and secondly, because I pick up a lot of the techniques and I pick up how to implement the techniques as well.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you.
Obviously, on this course, I want to teach you guys a couple of new techniques. One that if you specialize in it, it can keep you busy the whole time, which is phobia cure. So I'm going to get into that as well, a couple of others, and we're going to get deeper into some of the older ones. So we're going to play around quite a lot. And the fun thing I'm going to teach you guys on this course is how to string techniques, how to merge techniques, and how to create techniques. A master can create techniques, which is kind of cool. All right, let's go. Steph, give us, just tell us which platform have you not been on with Action Factory. That's going to be shorter.
Okay, so I have done the 9-day life coaching and NLP practitioner course in April. And because this is a completely new industry, can you actually hear me? Because I've got my earphones. Oh, okay. So because this is a complete new industry for me, I come from the nail industry where you very you teach all the steps and it's very detailed, and I kept on asking, okay, so where's the process? How do we follow this? And the more Leslie says follow your gut, the more I think, oh, I need to work out this, I need to work out some steps. Yeah. In any case, so that really was a challenge. I did actually 51 hours of coaching since April, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed the outcomes that I got with people, and how life-changing life coaching and NLP was for them. And yeah, so
did you get over the concept that you need a process?
Yes, no, definitely. And I've started creating my own sort of things already. So you just follow your gut, like Leslie said, and then, you know, when you get to a point where you don't know anymore, you just go back on what you know as well. And I must say, there's a lady that was with us in the April group, and she private messaged me and she said, can I please coach her? So I thought, you know, now she knows it. She knows all the tricks in the book now, so I'm going to coach her. Any case, the one day we were talking about something that we got to a point where I said to her, and now stand up. I said, can you see in front of you, there's a crown? And she looked, and I said, put it on your head. And she takes this crown and she puts it on her head. And I said, on the right of you, there's a cloak. I said, it's a purple cloak. And she says, no, I don't want a purple cloak. My mom goes to church with purple cloaks. I don't want a purple cloak. So we changed it to a red one. She says, I want the red one. So I said, okay, well, take a red one. So yeah, I've had lots of fun with as well. I've had one person, you guys had load shedding, and she went to Woolworths, and we did a timeline in Woolworths. And I said, obviously you can't walk your timeline. So you're just going to have to have it in your mind. So, and I told her about the bucket and this, and she was taking stuff out and she was putting it in the bucket. I was absolutely hysterical on this side. But yeah, and I'm from England, sorry. Originally from South Africa, and been in England for 11 years, almost 11 years now. And thanks to lockdown, I found Dion. And like I say, when the student's ready, the teacher appears. So
Awesome. Love it. Love your energy, love your enthusiasm. Happy you're on this course and you finally, yeehaw!
yeah, thanks. Yeah, here we go.
All right. Yvonne, good morning. Find that unmute button. Find that unmute button. There we go.
Now, how are you?
Good, good, good. You're a bit soft, but we can hear you.
Okay. Then I suppose I'm going to have to put on my sound a bit.
No, it's fine now. It's fine now. Yvonne.
Okay. Now I've been on a roller coaster myself. I also did the 9-day moose in April, so I enjoyed it a lot. I've seen a lot of clients, and then everybody, they just think we can help them immediately, which is a very difficult. I've been stuck with one client. Oh, nog waar my uit.
Are you still on?
Can Sani, please? Oh,
Still on.
Oh, can you hear me?
Don't say anything bad in the background. You're still on.
oh, okay. So just let me know if you can't hear me because my whole computer screen just went blank.
We can see you.
Yeah, we see you. We hear you. We actually saw you pick your nose there when you thought you were off camera.
Nah, I didn't. Okay, so yeah, so I've been busy with that, and then I fell pregnant. So I've been pregnant and very sick as well.
Oi, how far are you now?
20 weeks.
Oh my goodness, you still early days. Oh my goodness. Well, firstly, congratulations. Second question I usually have, was it planned?
No, it was a big surprise, so I had to deal with it.
They're the most, all three of my kids were surprises. They're always a blessing.
Yeah, it was a blessing. I didn't know this was going to happen.
That's
So,
what
yeah.
lockdown does.
If it's Yvonne, if it's a boy, you're going to call it Dion.
It's a girl.
It's a girl. You know already what sex. Okay.
Yes.
You're going to call it Dion name.
No, she's
No,
Amazai.
okay. All right.
So yeah, but
Well
other
done.
than that, we
Congrats.
just work and keep our minds busy with this NLP and normal clients and normal work. And yeah, so now I'm excited for this master's just to learn a lot of more new information.
Yeah. Nice. Good job. Thanks, Yvonne. And again, congratulations.
Thanks.
Even if they're surprised, they're still a pleasure. I had the honor yesterday, in fact, with my last Lameki, which was a bit of a surprise child. I think there's about a 10-year difference between our last child and our first child. And I think a 12-year difference, in fact. And it was also, oh, you're pregnant. What happened? Oh, yeah. Wife, what got into you? Something happened here. And she actually joined the company early this year. And yesterday she ran her first training session on her own. So sometimes your Lamekis, you know, those ones that come by surprise give you great surprises. So I'm a proud dad today. I was like, she did her own training yesterday, following in Daddy's footsteps, which is really cool. All right, let's go. Penny.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly. Good morning and welcome back. Nice to see you on this platform again.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, so you want to know a bit about the qualifications. So before I came to Dion's 9-day NLP life coaching, I qualified with New Insights, which is they do like a 13-week personal development program. And but then I very much wanted to, well, long story, but I went through a divorce and I kind of had a complete meltdown, and then I needed to get my confidence back. And after the gastroenterologist had told me that no medication is going to heal you because it's all in your head, I had to do something to get my head right. So I thought, okay, well, let me do this NLP course because maybe it'll help me. And the great thing about that course, Dion, and I have to thank you eternally, was the fact that I was like the oldest fart in the bunch. And so whenever Dion said, any volunteers, I'd go, yes, please, yes, please. And he basically coached me through the course. So by the time the 9 days was finished, I walked out of there.
I was the oldest, not you. I think
No. Definitely not. But anyway, so all the youngsters were too shy or embarrassed to do this thing. But anyway, and I remember driving home and thinking, wow, this is just amazing, because somehow, vicariously, without even trying, I managed to forgive my ex, who is a total narcissistic pig. But I'd been with him for 41 years at that stage, and he had done the most horrendous things, affairs, blah, blah, blah. But I'd managed to forgive him without even trying. It was the weirdest thing. So because all those things that Dion did, the NLP techniques, especially that one where you get your confidence back, that the resources state, that one thing. By the time, and you might remember, Dion, I had a complete wobble breakdown thing because I could not believe I was lovable. And that was one of my hardest things to overcome. But so it was great. So then I went back home and I thought, I'm going to start my coaching practice, and I'm this confident person. Well, it's all a con, as we all know, but anyway, I believed I was confident until such times I became confident. And then as I was going to sleep, I thought, no, but that's not my goal. I don't want to do that. I'm going to start a support group for people who, like me, have been abused by narcissists. So that's what I do. So for the last 3.5 years, I've been running the narcissistic abuse support group. Lots of horrible words, but anyway, which is going incredibly well. And now what I've done is I have made my market niche specifically to those people who have been abused in narcissistic relationships. So it's narrow, yes, it is, but since I started the group from, sorry?
Big market.
Well, right now, flipping hell it is there. But the problem, Diana, that I'm having is to market myself, is to get my presence known out there. And interestingly enough, I believe, on a spiritual basis, actually, that I'm being blocked on every platform. Every time I try to get exposure through media, at the last minute, someone go wrong, and I say, oh, so sorry, we can't have you on the platform, or something. And you can hear in this lady's voice, well, the last two ladies, they sounded very aggravated and peeved. And maybe they too were narcissists, and they didn't want their husbands to hear the program, or so, I don't know what it is for it. So I'm battling to get exposure. However, my group's grown from 5 people in my house originally. We just had meetings in Bryanston. We've just opened in Germiston, Cape Town. There's one opening in Pretoria. And my aim is to open a group throughout South Africa and hopefully beyond. We also have WhatsApp support groups, and that's really helping people. And now I have about 250 people chatting in here on WhatsApp. I have a meetup group of people, which is the way I got them to join, of about 650 people. So I have a wonderful target market. It's just a question of getting them to commit. And my other problem, Dion, is pricing. So everybody is so financially strapped, as you all know. Especially my people, because most of them been financially abused too. So they're women who weren't allowed to work, or they're women whose bloody husbands came in and stole all their money, or they used to be successful. And so it's a really very, very, very challenging. But what I'm quite proud of is that I took my new Insights 13-week development thing, 13-week personal development program, and I took all my learning and my understanding, my knowledge that I've gained from narcissistic abuse and codependency, etc., and how to heal from that, and all the healing methodologies and the problems that they have. And I've created a course called the Recovery and Restoration Personal Development Program, which is also very wordy, but it's trying to give you the whole idea that you can recover, but you can also be restored. And I use the word restore because I'm Christian. And I think there's a lot of, it's all about restoration. It's about getting back to your former understanding of who you are and who God created you to be. So that's been fun, Dion, because I've been winging that here. So I started my first thing. I just advertised and said, right, we're doing this course, session 1. And as each session went, I'd have to prepare the day before for session 2 because I never had a bloody clue what I was doing. But anyway, I've successfully gone through 1. She was hugely excited. I asked her to put a referral on my website, so she did. And now I'm getting people coming in with that, which is great. So I'm still busy tweaking and refining and trying to look like I know what I'm doing, but I'm getting there. And that way, if I can commit to 10 weeks up front, then they pay me up front, and then at least I've got them. Okay, so it's not big money. It isn't, but at least they commit. So if they get bored and disinterested, at least I've still got money. So it's really been a process of learning and growing and learning and growing. So besides that, I also did Dion's body coach thing, which I've never ever used, I have to tell you, Dion, except that because I tell you why, I'm not sure even now, how to do group coaching. Like for instance, I don't know, body coaching perhaps, but with me, with all the teaching I do is my personal coaching, it wouldn't work with groups. So I'm a little bit challenged with groups, and I'm actually very busy doing other things. But anyway, so I'm hugely excited to be here. Just to refresh my memory with a lot of the things that I haven't been using in NLP. There's some of them I use often, there's some I really don't, and I've kind of, quite frankly, I'm sorry to say, forgotten some of them. But yeah, I am very excited to be here. And Dion, you have been a wonderful inspiration, and I have been watching your things during lockdown, and I thank you for everything you do.
That's a pleasure. All right, so there's a couple of things, Penny. I'm going to say, you know, I don't know what I told you when you were in the class and what I didn't say. I can't, honestly, I can't remember every student, every conversation, everything. It's just way too much for me. But I do know one thing, and that is you are absolutely one of the most amazing, beautiful, authentic people I've ever met. You are just being plain real. And I think my wish is that the world sees it, and if they do, they'll come. So I know you say you're faking it until you make it. No, you're being an authentic self, and that's just. And I talk about this on a lot of the platforms. One thing that I've noticed since lockdown came in, if you look at, some of the trainers and the speakers in this industry, historically, a lot of them had, and I almost want to say they had a group of cheerleaders that would come on and work the crowd up. And then the man of the power of the hour would come onto a platform and wada, talk a whole lot of pink and fluffy nonsense. And the crowds go insane because, yes, it's worked them all up. So lockdown came and all of these guys couldn't get live audiences into their rooms to sort of entertain them in the process. And training became content-based. If you didn't have authentic, real, quality content, guys were falling off the bus big time. One thing that is, for me, proof from that, our audience, our world, the reality we live in, are desperate for authentic, real people. So whatever you guys do, make sure you bring that authenticity of who you are into your message. Let people see it. It's actually become an in-demand character trait. I mean, you look at yourself. Who do you listen to? Who do you go to? You don't. We've moved away from the very, very, those perfect guys. We're looking for authentic people that actually do go through struggles and that live a real life. So kids just keep going. Penny, you're on the right track. You're on the right track. So one thing that I will say, if you guys do have a workshop and you've got something like Penny, which I personally think is in demand, there is a large need for it. Surely you've got a Facebook group. Tag me in one of your posts or send me a WhatsApp with a link to it. I'm on Facebook now and then. I'm not a big Facebook guy. I do go on Facebook, but I go through it very quickly and I respond to stuff. And for me, it's a work tool. But I've got no problem in sharing your stuff on our pages. So, I've got two main pages, which obviously the Action Factory page. I think we've got about close to 17,000 likes on that page. So it is a strong page. Obviously, we've got the NLP and Life Coach group, which is, there's also over 1,000 members on there already. So you guys are welcome. Tag me or send me a WhatsApp with your link. I'll put it onto those pages. I'll make sure the world sees it.
Thank you very much.
Our base. I've got no problem. And that goes to all of you guys. I've got no problem giving you guys exposure. You're on a master's level now. For me, that tells me a couple of things. One, you've got the commitment. We listen to what you guys said, and you're in it for the right reasons. So if I can help, let me help. Okay.
Can I just add one thing? Dion, sorry, I just want to add one thing. You're talking about these big oaks, because the Tony Robbins and all these heroes, okay? There's some guy called JT Fox. I don't know if you've heard of him. Have any of you heard of JT Fox?
I know.
Do you know him? Anyway, so some idiot, sorry, excuse me, some person told me to listen to this guy because he was so clued up and he's fantastic and whatever. So I thought, okay, well, whatever. So I signed into, first of all, it was a con because it said you're going to have a live interaction with this man, which was rubbish. I thought it was 1-on-1. It was 1 on like 303. And this guy was the most narcissistic a-hole I had ever met in my life, excuse the French. But I stayed there because I wanted to see what he was going to do. Everybody there was there to market the business and say, I'm an entrepreneur, I want to get places, this is what I'm selling a tin can, what do you think, whatever. And then he'd come and he'd say, what do you want from me? I'm JT Fox, I can give you anything you want, I'm a billionaire. And he's like, oh God, okay. But my question was, I want to know the opposite. I want to know, how do I get my course known to be something that is amazingly effective without pricing it up there?
Yeah.
He said, what do you know? So I tell him what I'm doing. So he says, well, that's just a loser's market. I don't know why you do it. Where are you from? So I say, I'm from South Africa. He says, yeah, no, South Africa. And he starts trying to talk in Afrikaans, you see. So I said, okay. He says, your market is the Afrikaans people. So I was like, well, that's interesting, really, actually, because as I'm trying to talk, he says, don't try and tell me about South Africa. I know more about your country than you do, okay? Because I've been there, I've been to Windhoek, and I'm part of the Nelson Mandela Fund. So I said, okay, but you didn't answer my question. How do I get my course known to be and valued as something that's going to help people without marketing a thing? He said, don't choose losers. Anyway, moving on, who's next? Sorry, she doesn't like me anymore. So that was how this famous dude handled me. Can you believe that crap? So yes, talking about authenticity.
I don't want to sort of bash other guys, but I'm not a fan. I'll put it that way. I'm not a fan. There are different ways of promoting yourself, and the one way is for me. I'm going to say this: he's extremely unethical. So one of the products that he did sell was "We Need Speakers" was his headline of his Facebook ad. We need speakers. He doesn't need speakers. You come in and he sells you a course. That's false advertising. That's unethical. So I'm kind of, you guys know me. I'm like the crazy one when it comes to ethics about this industry. It freaks me out. Also, you need to understand, Penny, these guys operate at budgets that we can't reach.
Yeah.
A guy like JD Fox, before, I know he came to South Africa quite often, he would spend, and I've got some insider information on some of these guys because I do speak to some of them and I do know some of them actually. And for a guy to run a large event in South Africa where you get 2,000-3,000 people into a venue, their budget is about R500,000, marketing budget. So you need to keep that in mind. They operate at a budget that you and I can't reach. So how many guys here are struggling to get yourself promoted and get your name out there a little bit? Do you want a few tips and tricks and things that you can do? Is that something that you guys want? Yvonne is the only one that's not shaking her head. She's got it sorted. She knows exactly. All right, so maybe I can start off with that if you guys want, and I can just give you a little bit of practical stuff. So, but before I go there, I just want you guys to understand what these 3 days are about. And I do mention this in the past. During the Masters, the concept of this is, it's not actually a training course, it's a workshop. It's to get you guys into a state of becoming a master. I certify because I believe you've reached a level of mastering your art and your skill. That's what you get certified for. Will I teach you new things? Absolutely, of course. But it is to get you guys to a level of mastery, your art and your skill. And part of that is obviously mastering yourself and mastering your business. Because you need to realize you've got to wear all the different caps. You've got to wear the cap as the coach, as the practitioner, as the trainer, as a workshopper, as a speaker, as an entrepreneur and a business owner. And sometimes wearing all those caps can, become confusing. Obviously, I've been in the industry a while, so I've got a little bit of idea. But I am going to tell you guys the following. Our industry in South Africa, has shifted completely. The need for coaches has increased, but the price charged has decreased dramatically. So for us to, I'll give you guys an example. For us to sell a course, I go back, literally, if I go back 10 years ago, I think 10 years ago, we sold courses for more than what we are selling them for now. So a few things have happened. One, a couple of, again, non-certified, non-qualified scam artists is probably the best term that I can use into the market. I actually had a conversation with the International Coach Registrar yesterday, because one of the guys in South Africa is really pushing hard. They're promoting a lot. And for some reason, ICR approved them. So they're being removed over the next couple of days. They're being kicked off from the ICR because they're actually scam artists. It's actually one of my ex-students that I know very well. And I know they're not even certified as masters, let alone trainers. And they're promoting their product. So there's been an influx of a lot of scam artists in our industry, which has had a very negative impact on our industry. So they are producing and certifying coaches, but these guys don't really know what they're doing, and they have a negative impact on our customer base again. So that has happened. But this is something that's a whiplash effect from what happened in Europe and in America a couple of years ago. And in those countries, it's actually rectified itself already. In South Africa, in certain circles, in certain companies, it's already started to rectify itself. So there is a movement away from falling for the scam artist sales pitches and finding out who's the authentic and real guys. So that is starting to happen. The problem is the market is still flooded with a lot of people that are great at marketing, but really cuck at delivery. That's, sorry for the word, but it's the truth. So the question is, how do you really get yourself out there in the market? Now, there's a couple of things you can do, but there are some things that do work. And one of the things that do work is, and it's a simple mathematical equation. You need to understand that there is a difference between traffic, leads, and clients. You need to differentiate between those three elements: traffic, leads, and clients. So what is traffic? Traffic are people that come across your ads, your website, your Facebook page. So if you go into a shopping center, for example, and you've got a shop, your traffic would be the people that walk up and down the aisles. That's your traffic. Are they buyers? No, they're just traffic. Now, if you've got a website, you most probably have something that's got something like Google Analytics that can show you how many people actually visit your site and go onto your site. So to give you an idea, on an average day, we have a minimum of 100 new people going onto our site. But a lot of people go, wow, you guys must be calling it. No, that's just traffic. That's just people walking past. So you need to look at your own platforms. How much traffic do you have? So on Facebook, how many people actually do see your posts? On LinkedIn, how many people do you have in your network that actually see your posts? On Twitter, how many people do you actually see? On your website, how many people actually see your product on there? That's your first measure you've got to look at. Now, in our industry, on average, between 2.5% to 5% of your traffic converts into a lead. So what is a lead? A lead is merely someone that starts the conversation. So if you got the shop in the shopping center, it is someone that enters your shop and now they're looking around. A hot lead is that person has now picked up a product from the shelf and they're inquiring about it. Now they're starting to talk to you about it. A customer is someone that pays for your service. Now, of the people that become leads, we've got a fairly high conversion rate in our industry, but the industry norm is also around about 10%. So if you get 100 people that look at your Facebook page, maybe 5 or 10 might inquire or make a comment, and of those, maybe one will become a client. Maybe. So wherein lies the key? Two areas. Number one, create traffic and grab the traffic you do create. You need to get them interested that they want to start a conversation. Now, guys like that Penny mentioned earlier, they are masters in marketing. So what are they good at? They're good at generating huge amounts of traffic, and they pull the people in, and they're good salesmen. So what they do is once you come in, they convert and they sell, and they do a hard sell close. So I've been to one of these events. I was invited. I don't really like what the guy teaches and everything else. There were about 2,500 people in the auditorium or at the venue, and he did about a 2-hour training, free training session. At the end, I think the last hour was sales pitch. Sold the product for about 10,000 Rand, and he signed up about 50 at time. But I knew what these guys were buying, and I was going like, seriously, people, are you falling for this? But 50 people out of 2,500 did, and that's how they make the money. They unfortunately scare a lot of the people away from the rest of us. So what do you want to do? You want to increase your traffic, but you need to have something that draws your traffic in. Now, one of the mistakes most people in this industry make is you try and sell the solution to your potential clients. So, Benny, I'm going to use you as an example, if it's all right. Being in a relationship with a narcissistic person, what do most coaches that will coach you on that? They'll tell you, I can help you through this process. I can guide you how to get out of it. I can help you get your self-esteem back. I can help you re-empower yourself. That's the way most coaches will promote themselves. That's wrong. Because what happens is those clients are not going to respond because they see 1 million of those ads. So what is the odds that they're going to respond to yours? So what do? You need to make it personal. So dig deep and identify what is the problem, the tangible struggle that they have. What is that? So let's just unpack it a little bit. So if you look at someone that's in a narcissistic relationship, what is one of the problems they're having? For years and years, this person stamps on their self-esteem. So how do you get them in? You tell them, because of the relationship I was in, I got to a point where I had zero value attachment to my own life. I felt worthless. I felt useless. Friends told me I was fantastic. People would give me compliments, but nothing in me could believe it. What am I now doing? I am talking the emotional language that my potential client speaks inside of her head or his head. So when the traffic you get reads that and the right person sees it, this is what we call a hook. It's like fishing. You've got to have a proper bait in your hook to be able to hook them. Now they see, all right, this person is talking my language. Now you've got them for a couple of seconds. But now you've got to give them something. You've got to tell them, I overcame it. 3 of the main things I did was, and you give them actual things they can do. 1, 2, 3. Give them value. Now create a soft invite. If you want more information, now you can go either contact me here, or I'm actually running a free workshop or a webinar, a 1 hour one. Now you give them your information. Does it make sense, guys? So what you want to do is don't come up with just one. Create 10. Put them all out there. Every week, put a different one out there. And start noticing which ones work. And those are the ones you tweak a little bit more and tweak a little bit more. So you'll have some messages that might work better on Facebook. You'll have a different message that works better on LinkedIn. You'll have a different message that works better on Twitter. Keep tweaking those. But never be shy to give away a lot of the content. If you go onto our platform, if you go and really have a look, you'll see I give away vast amounts of, I'm on our YouTube channel, there's a lot of stuff on there. There's a lot of workshops I run. I run a lot of workshops really at a low entry level price. I do a lot of free stuff. Why? I'm establishing credibility. It allows people to come in. Well, let me first check this oak out. Okay, come check me out. That's what it's about. But when they come in, don't just run a sales pitch. Give quality info. Who do you want as a client? You want a client that is actually looking. You want an authentic client. So just to put this into perspective, I can probably go and place an ad. We need speakers. We've got so many inquiries. We need 100 coaches today. I've got the jobs. Now, I want you to think about that. What if I go and post something like that on Facebook? I need public speakers and I need life coaches and NLP practitioners. I need 100 urgently. I've got an overflow of clients that need to be coached. What if I do that on Facebook? How many people will come in? How many students will I have? A lot. I'll be very rich quickly. But here's my question. Are those the clients I want? Or do I want for my own, and I want to use the word, for my own sanity, for my own soul, for my own long-term sustainability, for my own authenticity, for my own clarity of heart, don't I want the people that actually want to come in? The real ones? So I pitch my product according to the guys that I want to draw. And those are the students that come onto our platforms. And you know what? I'm not rich. I'm not rich. When lockdown came in, as any other business in South Africa, we felt it and we're still feeling it. I got COVID a little while back, and it was right in that time when we had the looting going on in the country. My wife got extremely sick, ended up in hospital. I was very busy with that. We had the looting. It was extremely cold. Our business almost virtually came to a halt when it comes to traffic leads and orders. So we're also feeling it. But I will stay on my authentic track of who we are and what we offer. And that has proven over the years to be the right path because it gives me a consistent sustainability. Was it easy in the beginning? No. In the beginning, it was tough. Guys, when I started, I had a Facebook page. I paid money for ads to get people to get leads. When someone sent me an email, I picked up the phone. Literally, this is the way I operated. I called them. I said, let's make an appointment. I'll come and see you. Where do you stay? Where do you want to meet? I'll meet you at a coffee shop or I'll meet you at your house. And I would get into my car and I would drive to there. I drove far for a lot of clients. I would sometimes drive 3-4 hours to go see one potential client, have a face-to-face meeting and try and convert them to come in. And I had a standard price on my website, but it was literally a matter of, my price is this, but what can you afford though? I'll compromise, I'll help you out. That's how I started. Does that make sense? But I believed in one principle from the beginning. I will not compromise on ethics. I've got a pure message. I will not compromise on it. I will build a long-term sustainable brand on a certain standard, on a certain quality. And it has been our saving grace. I've seen a lot of guys in the industry come and go since I've been there. So, is it easy? No. Will you have a little bit of stress and fear? Yes. That is one of the caps you wear as an entrepreneur. I personally think if an entrepreneur does not have a little bit of stress about their business, they shouldn't be in business. If you don't feel a little bit of anxiousness sometimes, you shouldn't be in business. It is that little bit of fear, that little bit of anxiety about, am I going to make it this month? That pushes you, that pushes your creativity, that keeps you going, that literally keeps you in that position. That's the entrepreneur cap. Make sense? Just keep going. There's a wonderful old saying, it says it takes 10 years to make an overnight success. It takes 10 years to become an overnight success. And there's a huge amount of truth in that. I've been doing this for more than 10 years. In our field, in our circle, the people that know that Action Factory is, one of the leaders in this industry in Africa, and we're now expanding around the world, and that's going well. But outside of it, strangers don't know that. But I still keep my message pure.
Dion, can I ask you something? You're talking about LinkedIn and different platforms, okay? So I'm on LinkedIn, and so I've got this, it's actually working well for me, that people could think about doing. It's like a slide that a guy created for me. It's a template, and every day I put like a picture and I put the words that I want to say, whatever, and it's something, as you say, it's emoji words to draw people in and whatever, things that'll attract. And then I post it across the same site across all the different social media platforms. So I go LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. I'm not on Pinterest yet. I'm not sure about Pinterest. But anyway, my thing is this. You say, go onto analytics and see who's looking at you. But in LinkedIn, unless you go to premium, you can't see. Is it worthwhile investing in premium?
Well, you can see.
Can't see who.
So if you put a post on there, you can see how many people reply, or give you some kind of reaction. So one of the little secrets in LinkedIn, and especially Penny for your thing, what can help is go and post a poll. So ask a question where people can answer either a yes or a no, or there's 3 options, all right? But you've got to ask the question in a non-committal way. So what does that mean? Non-committal means, very simply, have you been exposed to a narcissist? Yes or no? And then watch what happens. Don't go and ask, are you in a relationship with a narcissist? That's a committed. They're not going to put that on social media. The moment they respond on there, you can send them a private message and say, okay, I notice you're exposed. I'm running a workshop. If you're interested, it's free. It's a 1-hour workshop. Here's the dates and the registration.
Yeah, but Dion, if I put that, then don't I have to be on premium? Because if they reply to the question, it's going to say to me, 20 people replied, but I won't be able to see who they are. Do you agree or no?
You can connect with them directly.
Sorry?
You can connect. If someone actually did respond on that poll, you can actually, without premium, you can connect with them directly. You can reply to them directly. You'll know who actually. So just go and play a little bit with LinkedIn. You can respond directly.
Okay.
And guys, if I don't know if you guys have been on my How to Promote Yourself online workshop, but I'm just going to give you another quick tip. If you're not on Twitter, you're missing it. You need to be on Twitter. You don't have to have a fancy account on Twitter, but let me just explain what you do on Twitter. Twitter is the only platform where you can search for keywords inside of conversations. And Twitter will tell you every person in the world is having a conversation using those words. So if you take the word narcissist, go into Google, put in the word synonym, and see what are the words that people use in a conversation if they're going to talk about narcissism, okay? Then you go into Twitter and you go to the top on the search function and you type that word in. It's going to give you as you scroll up, every conversation on Twitter around the world where that word has been used is going to pop up. You'll be able to read these conversations. You'll be able to comment on these conversations. Now, the person having the conversation will see your reply, and everybody else that's following that tweet will also see your reply. That's how you create traffic without having to spend money. But it takes time and commitment. It's a daily thing. You take your Twitter, you sit behind Twitter for an hour. Now you can create a platform where you can point people to. You very often create a generic answer on a Twitter word, and just copy paste and all the conversation. You can go through 1,000. You easily reach 1,000 people that use the word narcissistic in a conversation in less than an hour on Twitter every day. But it takes tenacity, it takes discipline to do it over and over, and to change it and tweak it until you start getting responses.
And Instagram, Dion, is Instagram not a good one? Everybody raves about Instagram.
Instagram is your professional. So if you look at the different platforms, so your one platform obviously is Facebook. Facebook is still quite popular in South Africa. But I always tease, so Facebook is your bored housewife that's got nothing else to do is platform. And I'm saying that in a nice way, not in a negative way. LinkedIn is your professional platform. Instagram and what's the other one?
Twitter?
Not Twitter.
Pinterest.
Pinterest is the young ones platform. You've got to be on Instagram, you've got to be on Pinterest. You got to be on Instagram as well.
So you're saying that Pinterest is a good platform?
Which one?
Pinterest.
It's sort of getting a little bit older, but it's still something you've got to be on. And then obviously TikTok. I know what's happening on TikTok and it's gone insane. I'm not convinced it's a real marketplace for us. I'm not convinced, unfortunately. But there is, Tim, I'm going to be with you now. There is another platform that if you're comfortable in speaking, in other words, you're not necessarily comfortable behind a camera, but you're comfortable in talking, Clubhouse, then you've got to be you have to then be on Clubhouse. Clubhouse at the moment is the fastest growing platform out there. So Clubhouse works almost like a radio station, and you can invite people on and people can find you and you can use keywords and you can develop it and eventually really grow your group. So there's a process you need to go through. So you're going to have to go and do some research. You can't just go into Clubhouse and then start a radio station. You've got to build up. You've got to first start a conversation with a certain amount of people. There's a whole process in it. Get Clubhouse, get onto Clubhouse as well. Because Clubhouse, what you can do on Clubhouse, for example, and I'm just we're talking about the narcissistic. So for you, you can say every Tuesday at 2:00, you do a 30-minute talk about narcissism. And you've got a specific platform on Clubhouse, and people will come on there. And as people come, they can invite other people. But they can't necessarily just interrupt you. If someone wants to say something, they've got to raise a hand. You've got to pull them into the level where they're now allowed to say something. They've got to unmute themselves, and then they can say something. So they can ask questions. To go onto Clubhouse, tap into some of the other talks, hear how the guys are doing it, and learn from that and do it. For me personally, I don't have the time. I haven't got the consistency of the time. But I've got some students that are pumping it because they're on Clubhouse, but religiously. They've got like 3 or 4 slots in a week, and they're on that slot every single time. And the audience is worldwide. Everybody can find it. All right, Fatima, you got a hand raised?
Yeah, so about TikTok, that's something I was wondering about because, so I know it's a lot of hard work, but what I figured out, because a lot of people told me to get onto TikTok, it's a lot of hard work because you have to create this content. And I find it sort of generic how everyone's just sort of dancing to a tune and like putting up all these different things. So what I did was I created a lot of like pictures or like written pictures because I'm not so comfortable doing videos, and I put it on my Instagram. And so I made that into sort of a slide and I posted it onto TikTok. And I feel like with the Reels, which is what TikTok basically is, there's more views. So there's more traffic in that way. However, I haven't yet gotten clients from TikTok. I'm not sure if they then come over to my Instagram and then contact me, because so far I'm also getting from Instagram or my website.
If you've linked it to Instagram, obviously they'll most probably go and view your Instagram profile and contact you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
For me, the reason why I say I'm not a big fan of TikTok is purely because of the typical audience. The typical, who of you guys have got TikTok? What do you actually go on TikTok for? There's only 2 people that go onto TikTok. The one group is a bunch of old farts that want to look at young girls dancing. And the other group are people that are looking for something humorous. That's why people go onto TikTok. And it is that absolute fast, what's the word I'm looking for? You flip through it so fast, there's no time to focus. So there's no real serious, the guys that have got serious messages on TikTok I don't think make it.
But then Dion, how do you feel about Instagram Reels, which is very similar to TikTok, it's just on the Instagram platform?
Oh, that works. So you've got on Instagram, you've got to have a video, you've got to have a reel, and you've got to have imaging with words and everything else. You've got to have a merge of all of those. But the key to Instagram is also consistency of regular upload. You've got to post at least once a week, at least. Now, the secret, what a lot of people don't understand, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but hopefully it does benefit you. If you look at a platform like Facebook, the secret of Facebook lies in its name. Sorry, Steph, I saw your hand was up. I'll be with you now. The secret of Facebook lies in its name. If you understand the algorithms behind Facebook, the longer people spend on your post, the better. And you want them to like it, obviously, but comments are the most important. So write something of interest and end it off with a question. You want an easy answerable question. That's what you want. That's how you get people to sort of get on there. It's a Facebook, it's a book. It's there for people to read. The longer they linger on your post, the better. Steph, you had a hand up earlier. Sorry, I didn't. Stephanie, can you hear me? Stephanie, can you hear me? You had your hand up earlier. You wanted to ask something.
Yeah, sorry, our doorbell just rang and I had to open the main door for somebody. What about podcasts or podcasts? How do you say?
Podcast is still good, but it takes a long time. So podcasting is very similar to starting a radio station.
Okay. So that's
podcasting has to be very interesting, and ideally you want to interview someone, but it takes a long time to build that audience.
okay. So would you say Clubhouse is
slow process?
Okay. Would Clubhouse be better than podcast?
I personally think at the moment you'll grow much faster on Clubhouse.
Okay. Thank you.
Also, things like a YouTube channel. YouTube channels, a lot of people make a lot of money and believe in you. YouTube is great, but YouTube takes years to grow. Unless you're a professional YouTuber, you know how to market, you're prepared to spend money, huge amounts of money on. There's so many people on YouTube. The market is saturated. It is the second largest search engine in the world. Google obviously being first. YouTube is second. So you put some stuff on YouTube. But your thumbnail image has got to be good. Your description of the video has got to be good. You've got to know what meta tags are and keywords. All of those things need to be in there. Otherwise, nobody's going to find you.
And then, Dion, I don't know if the other people hear it, but every now and again, it's as if there's a distortion in the sound. Is it just me?
No, I think it's your ears.
Okay. Well, that's probably, you're
We
right.
did it. Yeah. I'm not hearing distortions. I don't know about the other guys. Did you guys hear distortions? Yes, no? Sound wrong?
No. I don't know if you guys are on Wi-Fi, because if you're plugged in with a LAN cable to your router, then you get the best reception.
I'm not plugged in.
There we go.
Try again.
I actually do have a thing. Okay, thank you.
Pleasure.
It's
It's also good for online sessions when you're training. I mean, when you're coaching, or like me, hypnotherapy, I play music as well. So I can't do it without the LAN cable, yeah.
Now, what's your speed, your data speed there, Laura?
I invested. I went to 100 megabits. I've got fiber, 100 megabits.
I've got a 200 meg fiber up and down, but 200 megs you can't get over a router either. You can only get it through a LAN cable. So I only get about 70, 80 in reality through my Wi-Fi. But it's
still good.
It's fast enough. Penny, you had a hand up earlier. Did you have a question?
I did. Dion, so you say you've got a lot of free content on your YouTube channel, but who finds you?
So people, that's what I said, your meta tags and your keywords, the way you set it up. So there's three types of channels you can create on YouTube. The one is a public one where anybody can see it. Then you get an unlisted one and you get a private one. So unlisted, really, they're only going to find you if they have the link. But the idea on YouTube, the way you grow your audience is obviously people can subscribe to your channel. And then every time you make a new video and you load it on there, your subscriber gets a notification. Action Factor has loaded a new video and then they go and watch it. But I put a lot of stuff on YouTube, but I use it more as a platform for my students to gain access, not as a marketing tool. It's to me, it's not a marketing tool. I would need professionals or studios, professional guys to push that. I'd need to promote it with money, and it's not. You need to know where your audience, usually would find you. So a typical person that, for me, that wants to become an NLP practitioner or life coach, they get onto Google and they do research. So for me, first and foremost, my thing is very easy. I spend money on Google ads because that's where my client is. So the ideal scenario is you want to create what's called an avatar. So your avatar is what does your textbook typical customer look like? Where do they go? What platforms do they use? What type of groups do they join? For me, one of the things that I still believe is one of the best ways for a coach to promote themselves. You must have a Facebook chat room, a group, topic specific on your niche area. You must add video clips and informative articles onto that page. You must invite people on there. Once you reach a certain number, you become searchable on Facebook. To give you guys an idea, my one group, NLP and Life Coaches chat group, I get on average 2 to 5 people joining that group every single day. That group is now growing rapidly. And as it grows, the more Facebook makes it available and puts it on a listing, the faster it grows. So that group, probably 2 years from now, I will probably have about 10, 20,000 people on there. The moment you have a group like that, that's a captive audience. So pick a topic, create a Facebook group, start posting high quality information on there. People will come, they'll find it. You don't have to advertise. Invite a few in the beginning.
Do you, Dion, do you allow people to post their own stuff on your, their own posts on your group?
I do, but I literally every morning and every afternoon, I go onto those groups very quickly, but you get the notifications as well. So you will find people that are going to post things that you don't want on there. So what you can do is you can remove that post and you can block that person so they can't post in future again.
Yeah, because they like to, some like to put their ads on your site.
Yeah.
On your group.
Yeah. Now, I actually allow some of those ads because what it does, it actually draws a greater audience. Because what they do is they post their ad on there and they see there's views, then they go and invite a lot of their people to your group because it's a nice group. So at the moment, I'm still allowing it. At some stage, I'll stop it. But at the moment, I'm still allowed. I need to go for a wee-wee.
Yeah, us too. Well, let me speak for myself. Me too.
Let's do a 10-minute body break. You guys back? Talking wind. I'm talking wind. What was it? Talking wind.
Or you could say it the way it's written, wind talking. You see, according to the Incas, wind is about knowledge. So, wind talking, yeah, walk talking wind, basically.
Look what I just did. Look at your own name.
Yeah, wind talking. That's fine. I'm happy with that. The wind talks a lot, though, huh?
Yeah.
Dion, just to, last thing on your last point, you're talking about having a Facebook chat group. I'm assuming that's the same as any Facebook group. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's a group. It's a group.
Yeah, so I've got, for instance, I've got a Facebook page and then I've got a Facebook group. So that's what you're saying, hey? So you just post content there and then ask a question and people join. I have to just add though, for me, what I do, and this is quite a good idea for some of you too, if you have a specific topic. So across the world, there's a gazillion billion people doing narcissistic abuse or something to do with that because it's so prevalent. Facebook pages, okay? So what I do is I join the other ones. And then, but this all takes so much flipping time. So then what I do is Susie will come on complaining about such, and then I'll post something intelligent, I'll hook about 6 of them, and then I'll go to them personally on Messenger and I say, hi, sorry about that must be really hard. I give them a bit of my background, and then I say, if you'd like to chat this, that, or come to our group, you want to join our WhatsApp groups. So that's how I hook people, and then I can charge a little more because they're in America or the US, they're somewhere else. But it takes so much, all of this takes so much time. That's the problem.
Guys, there's 2 types of pain in this world. The pain of not doing something or the pain of doing something.
Or the pain of not affording to have a PA that can market your product for you.
So I'm going to give you one more tip. If you've got any kind of a topic you deal with, and the topic is something where, let's call it, it's a sensitive topic. So living with a narcissist is a sensitive topic in the sense a lot of the women that are in those relationships, and I assume there's men in those relationships as well, but let's just stick with women for now. So women in a relationship with a narcissist does not want to post and have a conversation on Facebook. Does not want to go onto social media platforms where her information can be noticed. They want to stay anonymous. All right, so here's a little trick. There is a website called Eventbrite. Eventbrite.com. Eventbrite is a webinar platform. There's 2 versions on there, free version and a paid version. Paid version, you can get people to pay via the platform, and then they take a percentage of it. But you can use the free one. Now, here's the beauty of the free one. So let me just explain what you want to do with Eventbrite. Firstly, obviously, go on there and register, get it set up, Eventbrite. Then go, and Penny, you're on a lot of the narcissist groups. So you should decide which country you want to target. Look at their time zone. This is critical because let me just explain something quickly. Let's assume we're grown-ups here. Can I just get confirmation we're grown-ups? Can I just say some things that I won't say in front of teenagers? All right. So I want to take me as an example. Let's say I've got a problem. What problem? Give me a problem. What kind of problem can a man at 58 have that is very shy of, doesn't want his wife or anybody or his friends or anything to know? Laura?
Erectile dysfunction. Erectile dysfunction.
Right. So let's assume I've got erectile dysfunction. I now want to go and find some information around it. Am I going to do it on a Friday evening at 7 o'clock while I'm watching TV or having a meal with my wife, go onto my cell phone and go and Google and search for how to overcome or how to fix or whatever it is? No. When am I going to do it? In the time of the day when I'm not with other people. So when is the best time? When we're usually alone and doing our own stuff? 11 o'clock. Between 10 and 11 o'clock in the morning. So you go onto a country, decide on a country. Let's say you decide on England. You want your clients from England. Go and have a look and see on a Tuesday morning, 11 o'clock in South Africa, what's the time there? Get your time zones right. Create a webinar on Eventbrite on that time zone. Put your topic in there. And let's say you want to talk about, let's say there's going to be, what was erectile dysfunction. Confidential webinar discussing the reality of whatever the problem is, be it some kind of dysfunction, anorexia, conventional discussion discussing realities around narcissism, living with a narcissist, whatever the statement is you're going to put in there. Confidential discussion around. So with Eventbrite, how Eventbrite works, just so you guys know, right now we're on Zoom. Now, someone that wants to have a confidential discussion or part of a confidential group, don't want to picture up. They don't want their image seen. They're shy. They want to be able to be in the background and just text if necessary, even under a false name if they have to. Eventbrite gives them that opportunity. Now, here's the beauty of Eventbrite. It's an international platform. You go on there, you post you register your event, give it about 2 weeks. So post it today if you're going to run it 2 weeks from now. Take that link, the invite link, share it on your social media platforms so you get more people to register, and you want them to register on Eventbrite. Because the more people that register on Eventbrite, the more people that goes onto that platform sees those webinars and actually join. You then present about a 40-minute high-quality webinar. You talk for about 30 minutes. You open the session up for questions and answers. Now, there is a little bit of a tip in the beginning. You might get questions and a lot of information coming in. Get someone to sit in the same room with you. Let them switch their computer volume off. Otherwise, you're going to have a sound disturbance. And all they do is they just watch the chat. If there are some questions that are really good questions, relevant questions, they write it down on a piece of paper for you and they put it in front of you. And then you go answer, because you're not going to be able to present and watch the chat at the same time. Okay. Especially if it's a confidential thing. Capiche? Did that help a little bit? Please, guys, these are tips that actually do work. As I said, please accept, I've been in this industry long enough. I know some things work, I can obviously unpack it. I can talk for 3 days about this, but apply these things and give them time. Be patient, but don't try it once, it doesn't work now. Focus. Put in the time and the effort that's necessary.
Dion, just one question I wanted to ask. Is it better on social media to do things as yourself rather than your company?
Both. So you need to have, for Facebook, for example, you must have, if you want to be a professional coach, you need to have a personal profile. And please go look at your personal profile. I mean, I looked at Yvonne's personal profile the other day. Now, she's a party animal. She gets drunk regularly. She dances naked on tables, and she does the craziest stuff. Not teasing, obviously. If that's what your personal profile, go clean it up. So make sure there's things that are not going to put your clients off on your personal profile. If you're a professional, be professional all of the time. Make sure that there are realistic stuff, real stuff. I posted on my personal page the other day, there's a photo that popped up from my 3 daughters. I call them my 3 jewels, and I shared that on Facebook. And a lot of people responded. I think my daughters are the most amazingly beautiful people in this world, and I'm proud of them. So I share things. I'll share photos of my dog on there, my wife, and my personal life. I don't mind. I'm not shy about them. But you won't see a photo of me half naked at my pool with a cigar in the one hand and a whiskey in the other. You won't see it. I won't post it. And I love the occasional cigar, and I love a great whiskey. But I'm not gonna put it on there. It's not going to. Okay. Makes sense? Create a professional page. So obviously I've got Dion Groenewald and I've got Action Factory. Now we've got Action Factory Global. And then we also have the NLP Life Coaches chat room. I've got another group, obviously Conversations with Dion, which is a specific topic only for the guys that have joined Conversations with Dion. You guys know about it. It's a free talk I do every 2 weeks. That's on there, but that's only where we post stuff about Conversations with Dion. And then I've got another one, which is, now there's a bit of a trick. Get a topic you know a lot of people are going to join. Leave the page and just let it grow. So I've got a group called Make Money from Life Coaching, or Earn Extra Money from Life Coaching. That's the name I gave it. I hardly ever post on there, and I automatically accept anybody that joins. And it's the biggest lot of rubbish that's on that page, but there are a ton of people on there, and they join in their hordes. I'm letting it simmer. Let it grow. It's growing. It's growing. At some stage, I'm going to decide, okay, I'm going to change the rules. I'm going to change the name. I'm going to delete all the posts. I'm going to put up a whole lot of stuff for me. But now, all of a sudden, I've got a group that I really work hard on with a couple of thousand people on there.
I actually got a group that I haven't been able to give it time. It's a page that I haven't been able to give it time. But the topic is quite popular because it's something I wanted to do. And I've got like 700 people who've liked it, but I've done nothing.
Go and create
That's what you're saying.
of groups. Give it weird names. Take one, focus and build one. Let the others just generically grow. They'll grow. People come on and they for some reason start following it. Put a couple of posts on there. You don't have to put much. And let it just grow. Allow people to post shit on there. Let it grow.
As far as I understand, you need a business Facebook account to create, or a Facebook page to create a group. Am I right?
Yeah, but it's still free. You don't pay for it. Business account is free. So
do you create like different pages, or do you create different groups within your page?
No, it's different names. They stand alone. On the groups, it does say it's linked to, and it does show you as the admin, the owner of the group.
Okay.
But I think I've got about 6 different groups in total somewhere.
All right. So the groups actually sort of like run themselves separately almost.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
I've got 9 pages.
Yeah.
And about 6 groups on Facebook.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, Dion.
All right. Can we get into training at some stage?
Yeah, I want to ask one last question. Blogging. So on your website, do you think blogging is worth your time and effort? So I was trying to get more traffic to my website. So I thought, okay, I'll do something topical, which it was. It was very relevant because it's come up in my group a lot, but it was also a little narrow. So it was called Why My Faith Kept Me Trapped in a Toxic Relationship, or Stuck, whatever, something like that. And I did like a little 11-part blog.
Blogging does work if you can do it consistently and regularly, and if you do it right. So
yeah, but I kept putting the link onto Facebook, and not one person commented, not one person followed.
That's fine. Keep doing it. So blogging, you need for you to be a professional blogger, you need to have hyperlinks on your blog page. In other words, you've got to take people from your blog page somewhere else. Otherwise, what are you doing? You've got to understand also how to get your blog noticed. So use the correct keywords and statements and put them in bold inside of your blog article. Now, I write articles. I don't blog, I write articles, but I do it specifically for my SEO. So the SEO guys use those articles as backlinks that point to the site. And it upgrades my SEO ranking, which is a different argument. But blogging has become a profession of its own. The odds that someone's got a chance is going to find your article, very, very small.
Yeah, but you see, Dion, I've got a Facebook presence of 3,700 people, okay? And if I were to put the link there, which I did every day, okay? And then what I don't understand either is somehow, some days, 27 people will view it, the next day 83 will, the next day 2 will. I don't even understand how this thing works, but
That's called
Yeah.
Facebook. And if you've got a website, if you're not, you need to be active on Google My Business. You've got to post on Google My Business. You've got a website. Ivana, you bored this morning because you know all this stuff. It looks like you're falling asleep there, girl. That's why I teased you earlier, just to try and.
Well, my stomach is so big. I'm comfortable sitting, so I'm going to be moving around a lot.
I remember when my wife, with all our kids, when she gets pregnant, she didn't get morning sickness. I'll get morning sickness. I remember there's a little pill she could drink if she gets morning sickness that takes it away. I would literally phone her. I'll say, listen, sweetie, do me a favor, drink a pill. And then she'll drink a pill and my morning sickness goes away. It was the weirdest how I experienced all the symptoms. And I would sometimes tell her, feel the kick. She says, yeah, she's kicking. You can check, it's kicking. It was amazing. All right. Any other questions around this topic? So what is the benefit? What is the one thing that came out? I spoke about Eventbrite. Literally, one of the best things you still can do to build an audience, guys, you need to run webinars or workshops. Either through Eventbrite, where people can be anonymous, or you've got to run it on platforms like this with Zoom or Teams or something. It allows you to establish your authority and your level of expertise. I mean, there's 5 people on this group. How many of you guys came to Action Factory, originally did a free one day, or had a look at a video or something before you actually joined? Who of you guys looked at the page and went, no, I'm joining? None of you? You did a bit of homework. You wanted to see who we are a little bit, right? So if you wanted that, then surely your client wants the same. That's what workshops and webinars are for. That's what free videos are for. That's what articles are for. That's the reason behind it. People test drive an intellectual buyer, a well-informed person, test drives a car before they buy it. They make babies and others before they get married. I mean, sorry, where did I go? No, I'm off topic.
Yeah, I mean, I remember doing your one-day workshop. I ended up having a couple of colleagues in the room as well. And then I only joined about a year later. So what I'm saying is that don't think everybody's going to necessarily convert now. I think they convert when they're ready. So when I was ready and I said, no, I do definitely want to do this stuff, then I contacted the guys again.
I've had numerous students, a year, 2, 3 years after doing a one day, eventually joined. I think the record was 8 years. Someone told me 8 years. They waited 8 years to be able to join. So, you know, if you do build a database as well, email database, send out the odd email, but try not to harass. We actually sent out a little bit too many emails over the last 6 weeks, and people unsubscribed at a rapid rate. People don't like being harassed too much by emails. I mean, some of these sales guys, if you subscribe to something, you literally get 3-4 mails a day from the same place. What do? Do you read them?
I delete them.
You delete them, you
unsubscribe.
You mark them as spam, you unsubscribe, you get away from them. It's just too much.
Yeah, and I think this is what I was thinking: is how do I stand out with my one email against all of this other stuff that people are getting?
You make it look like it's a real email. Now, number one, as far as possible, do not send it from a automated mail server like MailChimp or Aweber or any of these things. Guys, those things go straight into the spam boxes. To set those up properly is a nightmare. Don't create an email that looks like a commercial email with millions of pictures. Look at the emails you get from us. They come from Nicole at Action Factory or accounts at Action Factory, actual Action Factory email address. They are typed in and they are manually sent. We go through a huge amount of energy and effort and time to send them that way very deliberately, because that's how you get them. So literally what we do is our entire database. Yes, I've got great CRM software, but I don't send a lot of emails from my CRM software. I send them directly from Outlook. And the way we do that, so our Outlook doesn't get spammed, everything lies on an Excel spreadsheet. And you send you go you can leave it to blank actually. You copy and paste, I think you copy and paste 39 email addresses into BCC, so people can't see all the email names. Copies the email, send. Again, 39, 39, 39, 39, and we send them in batches. So we send an easy 3,000 to 4,000 emails like that every week or every 2 weeks. But we do it manually. That's the only way people get it. Otherwise, it goes straight into the spam boxes and they won't see it. And we make the emails look like real emails. We don't have fancy HTML editors. I don't use them deliberately because it looks like a sales pitch email. People don't open them. Yes, Benny.
So the one thing about pricing, as you say, we used to be able to charge a whole lot more than we can now, but I went in and Googled the average price of a life coach in South Africa, and it's now 429 Rand an hour. Okay, that's the average price. What I want to know, Dion, is a little tip. If you were to do group coaching, what do you sort of minimize? Let's say it's a Zoom platform. Do you say maximum 10 people or not? And B, how do you price group then?
Okay. Yeah, I had a group pricing that I had to do yesterday. Just to give you guys an example, I had a company that contacted me. So I charge for groups an hour session. I charge 500 Rand a head, and it has to be a minimum of 10 people. That's big. You're probably not going to get that yet. So for groups, a good going rate at the moment is anything between 50 to 150 Rand for roughly about for a workshop, for a webinar, for a group session.
50 to 150.
Yeah. Per
hour.
But you normally they are an hour, but you never end up doing an exact hour.
Yeah.
That's sort of a reasonable rate that your average market in South Africa is prepared to pay.
Yeah. And with regards to limiting, would you limit it then? Would you say only 10 at a time, or would you allow more people? Or what?
Limit them? If it's virtual, why limit them?
Yeah. I'm just thinking about conversationally.
No, I mean, some of our groups, we do 70, 80. We went over, I think the biggest one we had was like 300 people on a Zoom platform. You just make sure you've got a couple of people that assist as co-hosts, and you set your security settings so everybody must be able to unmute themselves. That's all. It's easy to control now. Zoom is awesome. Mm-hmm. Create waiting rooms. If they ask stupid questions or they become an irritation, you just go put them into a waiting room. One of the co-hosts go into the waiting room and say, "Hey, what's your problem in a Zoom? You're harassing everybody here." And if the person doesn't comply, you kick them out. They can't be entered.
So, Dion, do you have Zoom webinar or do you have Zoom meetings?
I do Zoom meetings.
Okay.
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah, I think this is on Zoom meetings. I mean, the Zoom webinar is much more expensive. That's why I was asking.
I'll use this. Because now, even with Zoom meetings, you can now force people to sign up before they can join. So they're going to give you a name and an email address for them to come onto the platform.
Yeah, I quite like that actually.
The free sessions, that works, but you are going to lose some people because a lot of people don't know how to do it. Guys, I'm going to mention this again. You need to understand one thing. People need to see you're an expert, you know what you're talking about. People need access to you to realize that you've got a huge amount of value to offer. Most people that run workshops are petrified to give away a lot of their intellectual property. Give away a third. If you've got a 3-day workshop, do day 1 completely free. Give away a third of your intellectual property. Allow people to see and experience the value you have to offer. Those are the people you want on your program. I mean, think about it. Who do you want to join your program? It's people that think you've got something to offer. So show them what you offer so they can make a well-informed decision. To me, it's a no-brainer.
Ian, how do you then convert them? So if they come for their 1 day, do they then sign up at the end of day 1 for 2 and 3? Or
I personally, I don't like doing a hard sell. So some of you guys have been on a lot of the conversations with Dion or the free stuff that I did. Have you noticed at the end, I might say, if anybody has got some questions, if you want to join, I'll hang around for a couple of minutes. But you'll hardly ever see me try and do a bit of a hard push. So I don't believe in that principle, because again, our audience are not buying a pair of shoes. They're buying into something which takes time for them to think and make an intellectual choice about. So we shouldn't be doing a hard sell. So what is the option? Once they've been onto your platform, send them a message, be it a WhatsApp or email, whatever. Be on the platform. If you want to chat, a one-on-one session, here's a link. Get an app called Calendly, and they can schedule a one-on-one session with you. And it's in that session we say, okay, this is my pricing, this is how I work, are you interested? That's where you do the sales conversation.
I mean, I've been doing that with like I call it an initial discovery consultation. I give it away for free. Is that still a good idea? I mean,
yes.
Okay. Yes. I do find them quite hard converting. Not everybody comes back. But
listen, you can be the best fisherman in the world. You're not going to catch all the fish.
Yeah, true.
I've made an absolute conscious decision. Right in the beginning when I started, I said a couple of things to myself, and I still believe it today. The right people will come at the right time. And I'm that's it. Now, does it mean I'm completely blind to what's happening in the market and everything else? No, I'm creative, and I send out emails, and I bring out specials, and I do certain things to draw in people, obviously. But there's a calmness behind it. It says, you know what? It's okay. The right people will come at the right time. The moment you get frantic, the moment you get desperate, people pick it up and you push them away. If you get a little bit too desperate, come on, you got to sign up. It's really going to help you. Come on, sign up. Come on. It looks like you're desperate for their money. I'm not going to say bye-bye. In South Africa, get yourself a favor as well, and in Europe, get something like Stripe, PayPal, or Pay Fast. South Africa, Pay Fast works well. The nice thing about Pay Fast that you can do, it's free to sign up. They take a small percentage of the money coming in, but you can link it to your bank account. You can create a button So let's assume you get a client and they sign up for 6 sessions. One of the biggest problems is getting the money from them. So you tell them, well, what we're going to do is we're going to put you on a subscription for 6 months. So every month, the money will go off to your account automatically. You don't have to worry about the payments. You create a pay fast button, you can email to them. They get the button on the email, says subscribe here. They click on it and they go into a secure payment platform. But PayFast takes the money from them every month and puts into your account. If something happens that there's not sufficient funds, you immediately get a notification. You can go onto your PayFast platform and you can pick it up there. It makes the payment process more secure. You look professional as well. If you can do that. If you've got a website, you can actually put it onto a link on your page. So very often, if people want to sign up and they want to do 3 or 6 or 12 sessions, they might not have all the money up front to pay you now. Nothing wrong in saying, well, doing 3 sessions, I've got a normal payment and I've got an easy pay process. The easy pay is going to cost you a little bit more, but here's the link. You can pay it off over 6 months. Make it easy, achievable for most people.
What is the commission that they charge on PayFast? Because I use PayPal.
I think PayFast is cheaper than PayPal. I'm not 100% convinced. I don't know offhand. I think it varies amount to amount and how the person pays. Because the person can either pay different cards, debit cards, credit cards, EFTs. There's a variety of options, and I think they're all different.
I think it averages about 3%,
Yeah.
plus an admin fee.
If you've got international clients, you obviously want either PayPal or Stripe. Now, generally, you can't get Stripe in South Africa, but you can via a platform called Stripe Atlas, but it's probably going to cost you about 10,000 Rand to apply.
Now, PayPal is probably easier.
PayPal is just finicky. Just so you guys know, PayPal does not actually offer real customer service in South Africa. We're too small for them. They don't care. So if you do ever have a problem on PayPal, and there is money, I've had it. I had a PayPal account. I had money on PayPal. PayPal themselves just didn't reply to any of my tickets, any of my emails, just didn't care, didn't fix the problem. So the money, I eventually cancel. Lost the money. Is what it is. Because there's now my daughter that stays in the Netherlands works on the international payment platform. So she knows PayPal well. It's one of their clients. She's actually had a conversation and this is inside information. But their response was, no, we don't respond to South Africa. There's a list of countries they just don't. We're so small in their book. Don't care. We pay fast. Man, their service is good because South African based. So they want to protect their market. So they're really, really good. In England, obviously in Europe, Steph, I'm not sure what all the platforms there are, but you must have one there as well.
Yeah, I've got a site that I use, and I use Stripe and PayPal because it works. Yeah, but from what I can understand is that people can still pay you through Stripe. But they don't need to, they take payments from South Africa through Stripe, but they don't.
Stripe is technically not in South Africa.
So they don't pay out.
They are.
There is a second, you've got to go through Stripe Atlas.
Oh, Atlas.
Yeah. So you've got to use what's called Stripe Atlas, and that's a different application to Stripe. But that application you pay for.
Oh, I see.
You pay for it. It's going to cost you close to 10,000 rands, and you're probably going to wait about 3-4 months. A friend of mine just did it. That's why I know.
Yeah, I've got the platform that I'm using for some of my stuff is Kajabi, and they've only got the option for Stripe and PayPal. They don't have an option for PayFast because they're American.
Yeah. So it's tough getting the right platform, but you can I use on my website, I've got WooCommerce.
Mm.
Now, WooCommerce, you can integrate with almost every payment system, but you might need a developer to do it. So I've got WooCommerce, which is actually an American thing, and I've got my PayFast linked to my WooCommerce.
Because that's what was, I mean, I've got a PayFast account, but it's very difficult to just create like a payment link. You've got to have the right amount. You've got to say exactly which email addresses it has to. I find it easier to link it into a website than it is to just get like a link and send it to a person in an email to say, pay me using this link.
I
So
think PayFast is so much easier.
It can send a request for payment. It can send a request for payment to a particular person, but it doesn't just create like a link for you that you can use over and over again. You have to actually, you generate a button, but that then gives you the code to put into a website. Doesn't give you the code to put in an email to say, pay me.
No, but it does have an option for an email code generator. We use it, I know.
I'm going to have to look at it because I've been struggling to find that one.
No, it is there. It is there.
Okay, I'll go and look.
Email button. And it literally gets onto the other client's email, and it looks like a button. So on their button, or on the email, they just press the button. Click on the button, and it opens up the platform.
Maybe I'm just not seeing it. I'll go and have a look again.
It's definitely on there. I know because I use it.
Okay, so I'll go and double check. Thanks, Dion.
Dion, what I should do is because we tested the landing page, what I should do is ask my two daughters who actually paid so that we could see how the whole process works, how they paid, because they could only pay via Stripe or PayPal. I'll ask them.
What you can do is if you link something on your website, you get something like WooCommerce. I think it's free. It's a plug-in that you can get. Through WooCommerce, it's WOO Commerce, you can integrate a variety of, so you can have PayPal, PayFast, Stripe, Give My Geld app, whatever. You can have all of them. So when your client actually goes into the store, the checkout, those options are actually, they can click on which option serves them best. So if you go into my site, for example, or Action Factory site, and you want to buy something, you want to pay directly on the site. So you've got a product page, you go into the product page, it'll say buy. That opens the option where you can go direct bank transfer or pay fast. Those options are there. But that's a WooCommerce functionality. So maybe Stephanie, have a look and see if you can integrate that into your site. You can really, WooCommerce has got a lot of add-on stuff you can do there. That's really, really worth it. You can get recapture on the WooCommerce, you can get all kinds of stuff. All right, it's 11 o'clock, we're going to take a break, and after the break, we are actually going to do a little bit of training for today. Is that okay? We really need to get into some training. So I'm going to give you guys 11:15.
Yeah.
We'll be back. So what's the time? 11. 11:15, back in class. Yes, Steph?
Is it possible that I can give you a quick call in break time? It's just something I want to discuss with you.
You're going to give me a call?
Yeah, please.
I'm not going to talk to you in break time because I've got someone sitting outside waiting for a meeting.
Okay, can we do it lunchtime?
We can do it later, lunchtime.
Or after today?
All right.
Okay, all right, perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
What time are we supposed to come back?
15 minutes.
Thank you.
Right. Verse verbal. Verse verbal. What time is it? 3 minutes left. Okay.
Yvonne,
Hallo, gaan dit?
goed en jy? Ek so bly om jou te sien.
Ja, vir jou ook. Dit lank ons gesels.
Ja. Hoe gaan dit met Pieter?
Nee, goed. Hy is werk baie besig, baie hard vandag. Hy suffer nou sonder my.
Is dit? Okay. Jy moet vir hom sê ek stuur baie liefde groete en jy moet vir hom sê ek gebruik daai I'm delighted and excited all the time. Ek het hom gesê ek gaan dit vat. Ek gaan dit steel by hom. En
Is reg.
ek het hom toestemming gevra om dit te gebruik en hy het gesê dis reg en I'm delighted and excited.
Ag, shame. Ja, nee, hy geniet hierdie goed, maar hy kan ook nie wag om verder te gaan nie.
Ja, amazing.
Ja.
Love it. Okay.
Wie is julle?
Yvonne se boetie is okay, sorry, everybody I suppose can't maybe understand Afrikaans. Yvonne's brother is Peter that did the July NLP course. Yeah, I was in the breakout room with him about, I think twice, and yeah, it's
What's his surname?
I can't remember his surname.
Clifford, Peter Clifford,
Okay.
he won the abundance course.
Ah, okay.
Nice guy.
I love it when family comes on these courses.
Yeah, that's true. And Yvonne and I were on together on the April in the April course.
Some families, the whole family comes on the course. It becomes like an NLP house. It's quite interesting.
And we helped each other out in the beginning as well, which was good.
No, it helps. Does help. Makes a big difference. I mean, NLP is a huge field. If you really go and start exploring it, the field is enormous. It's impossible for any trainer to teach a student everything about NLP. You've got to do your homework. You've got to research, you've got to discuss, you've got to practice, you've got to play, you've got to develop all things. All right, so let's talk about homework and let's talk about your development. So part of this journey is you guys got your exam, or I actually prefer to call it the research paper. You guys get that? Did you look at it? It's quite easy, eh? Now, let me just put something out there so you know right from the word go. There's a huge amount of stuff in there that I never talk about, that I've not discussed, and I'm probably not going to discuss. So why give you an exam about things that we never discussed? Very, very specifically. That exam actually has two reasons behind it. The first one is it is actually going to force you to start doing research. You're going to have to jump onto Google, buy books, and build a library of information. And that's the actual reason. I need you guys to really get into it, to start being able to differentiate between the guys that have got quality info on their sites and the rubbish ones. So you need to be able to make that differentiation, and that's the reason behind it. But whilst you're doing it, and this is the second reason, whilst you're busy doing the research to get the answers, if you land on a source that you enjoy, that you like, the way it's written, the type of information, save the source. So literally, as I say, build a library where you can go and gather information. The moment that world opens up, you don't need to go on a course again, because you've got access to all the information. In our industry, and this, we look at it at different levels. So from a certificate point of view, you've got your practitioner, which is the original one you guys did. Then you get a master's, and then you get a trainer's. But there is something inside of the industry that we tend to talk about, and this is more between the trainers and the guys. We talk about true masters. So a true master is someone that got a certificate, be it a practitioner or be it a master's or trainers. But it is someone that has developed themselves, done a lot of research, and gathered a vast, wide array of knowledge to such a degree that they can talk about any topic in the industry really for hours, because they've got the knowledge. That's a true master. For me, personally, if you guys tell me, Dion, can I have my master's certificate? I'll say, yeah, sure, there you go. I attach zero value to a master's certificate. I attach value to someone recognizing and realizing I've mastered this. That to me is by far more important. Make sense? So number one, you've actually got that homework for you. I'm forcing you guys to go do research. Number two, gather or collect resource sources. It will serve you in your future. Yes, Fatima.
Jan, when will that be due?
Yes. Now, it's probably going to take you about 150 to 250 hours of actual work to complete. So, some of you guys have got that time. You can spend the next 2 months doing just that, nothing else. Some of you guys will take a year. It's really a matter of how much time can you squeeze in. Now, I am going to tell you guys a little bit of a secret. 1/3 of students that come onto the master's course to get that exam completed. In other words, 2/3 don't, ever. And guess what? They don't get certified. Because for me, it's a matter of if you're going to go through the effort of doing the homework, great. If you don't want to do it and you sort of lose track and you get, that's too busy, or I'm too busy here, and you procrastinate, then I don't want you to call yourself a true master, because then they're all masters, because then you're not. Is that okay? Discipline yourselves. Take, set a time apart. So on a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Friday, an hour in your day, whatever your schedule looks like, and set the time, and just that's my research time, and you will be amazed by your discoveries. That's the cool part of it. You're going to discover great things. You're going to discover websites and articles written in your niche areas that you're passionate about, and it's really just going to widen your awareness. If you're lucky, you'll even end up on the encyclopedia of NLP. You guys know there's a whole set of encyclopedias. Those written. The best book you can buy, it's nothing related to your research, obviously it's the big book of NLP, because that one's got over 300, close to 400 techniques in it.
What's that? I'm the goldfish, Dion. What's that book called?
The Big Book of NLP, and someone I think actually sent me a PDF version the other day, which they gave to me for free, which maybe I can give free to some of you guys. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if I can find it. If I can find it very quickly. I'm just going to copy and share it to the post.
Oh, thank you.
Where's the Masters? I'm not sure if it's the book itself. It's an expanded version.
Wait, show me. Oh, it's called The Big Book of NLP. Oh.
Got it on your WhatsApp.
Thank you.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, there it is. There's the book.
Thank you.
And it's quite thick.
Yeah. It's not a book you're gonna sort of get into bed with and read from the beginning to the end. Not gonna happen. It's a book you're gonna pick and choose from. Fatima, you're gonna hand up, go.
Okay, I got two questions. The first one is, would you give us any resources for the exam? And the second one is, can we work together? Like, I know we're on a group. Is it like, would you encourage that?
Not a team effort. What was your first question?
If you could give us some resources as well to guide us with the exam.
No, I deliberately don't. It's part of the actual thing. You need to go and find the resources, and you need to be able to discriminate, because here's the risk you've got. There are a ton of websites out there where the guys post a lot of wara bull bubble, and you need to be able to discriminate. Now, I am going to give you a little secret here. You either pass that research paper or you fail it. There's no in between. So if I look at it and it's just a matter of all you did was copy paste, you fail. If I don't want copy paste, I want you to rewrite it. I want your words on it. But I don't want, and you don't have to feed me with pages of answers, just bullets. Even if you just write a couple of bullets with words on there, I've got enough comprehension and grasp of the industry. I'll go through and say, okay, she's got it. But don't copy. I can see if it's a copy paste, because I know these sites. I read these masters answers often, so I will pick up if it's a pure copy paste. You're going to retype in your own words, because I need to see you've got comprehension of it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right. Yes, Yvonne.
Okay, Dion, I just want to ask quickly, we're going to do this exam, but yesterday I actually sat and then I started doing a little bit of research with it. So is it okay if we're going to send it in? Can we just like number one, and then you will know number one is number one's answer.
Yes.
If you want me to write the answer and the question and the answer.
I'm going to answer you this way. For you yourself, long term, it will be easier if you actually do it on the paper. In other words, copy it into a Word document and have the question and then the answer, because you might want to refer back at a later stage, and it's going to make your life easier. But
so it's better to type it out.
Sorry?
It's better to type it out.
It is better to type it out. That's the one side of it. The second thing, if you can do it handwritten, I might not be able to read your handwriting correctly. That's the other problem. Some people have got horrible handwritings. So for this one, I prefer if you type it out. Okay. I think the record time was 6 weeks, in which someone, or 5 weeks, from finishing this workshop to handing in their paper. The longest time was, I think I ran my first one in 2010, and I'm still waiting.
So Dion, just to clarify, we complete the document and we send the complete document in, not pieces. And
Don't send it to me in pieces.
okay.
No. Do the whole thing, you send it to me. It takes me approximately 3 hours of reading to go through, because I have to, it's an intellectual read, it's not a quick scan. So it takes me quite a bit of time because I hardly ever have 3 hours to sit down and read something. So it takes me on average probably about 3-4 days to work through one. So even if you send it, don't think that, Dion, I've just sent it to you 10 minutes ago. Where's my certificate? Be patient. I have to work through it. I've got to do it properly.
I've sent, Geraldine shared the link for the big book of NLP. She shared that with us in the May group. So I've put it on the group for those who are interested, because it's quite an expensive book. It was £30 for me to buy it. So times 20 Rand is quite a lot of money.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate that.
Who's got a hand up?
Which group is it on, Stephanie?
On the Masters one.
Oh, this one now. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Fatima, you got a question there? Fatima?
Sorry, I forgot to lower my hand from earlier.
All right. So is it clear what you guys need to do with your questionnaire? So your real test or your real training for your masters is actually a questionnaire, to be honest.
No, that's good, because to be honest, there's some feedback, sorry. I don't know where the feedback's coming from. And I'm so glad, actually, because
why are you getting feedback? You've got 2 systems.
I have no, and I know it comes from that, but I don't.
Okay.
So maybe someone else has, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was Penny. I just muted it. Might have been as I don't know. She's moving around.
Yeah, it's weird listening to yourself twice.
All right.
Just
But
a
I'm saying,
question.
I'm glad, just hold on, please, Tiff. I'm
Sorry.
still busy. It's okay. I'm saying I'm glad you've structured it that way, because I know I don't do well in exams, and under pressure it's even worse. So I was hoping we're going to sit the whole of Thursday and start filling in the stuff. Give us like 6 hours to do it, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I'm so glad, because I actually like doing the research. So happy about that.
And I'll just say, and I'll train the trainers course. Now, the trainers course in the NLP specific trainer is 21 days non-stop training and we start at 7 o'clock in the morning and you're busy till about 11 o'clock at night. And the last day, when you walk in, that questionnaire is put in front of you and you've got to do it there and then. No handbooks, no references, you got to go. And I think we got 6 hours to complete it. So it was insane. It's impossible to complete the whole thing in 6 hours. But yeah, that was our written test as we were there. Stephanie, you also wanted to ask something?
Yeah, so the questionnaire or the document, the research document that we need to do, is it in the manual? No, are you going to send it to us?
Send it via email.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I'll just check. I didn't receive it, so I'll just check my email. Sorry.
It would have been in your email. Penny, are you still here? I just want to double check. I know your camera's off. I just want to make sure you're here. Penny? You still here? All right. Just checking. All right.
Sorry, I'm still here.
Okay. All right, guys. We need to get some training in for today, because you do have a little bit of a practical also for today. So I need to get this going. So I want to just talk to you guys about the principle of states. Now, and again, this is a master's level, so I'm going to take some of the stuff you should know, and I'm just going to raise the bar a little bit. Guys, I'm just going to mute you all, because there is a little bit of background noises coming through, so I'll just mute you guys. So the moment we talk about states, most people, when you think about a state, you think about your current state or a very specific state, like a state of anger, a state of depression, a state of joy, or whatever the case may be. But let's unpack states, and I need you to really start differentiating and start realizing the amazingness of states. So at the moment we talk about states, we actually always have a dual state running. We always have a physical state, physiological, there we go. So you got a physical state, and you've got a mental or emotional state. So your brain creates a state and your body creates a state. So let's just pause there for a moment and become extremely self-aware as I talk about this now. So this morning when you came into this classroom, because you knew you're coming into a classroom, you prepared yourself physically. So you want to look fairly presentable. You look different in this classroom than what you would at 2 o'clock in the morning when I wake you up, yeah? There's a bit of preparedness. So, but also your body prepares itself. So for me as a trainer, for example, I stand when I train, well, I stand most of the time when I work, but I need to make sure that I've got the right shoes on. So there's a preparedness for me to be able to be present and do it. But whilst I'm doing it, my body has got a very particular state. There's a different physical state I have now to what I would have if my wife comes home a little bit later. When my wife comes home, we've got a little routine. She pulls the car into the garage, the dogs are going to run out, she gives me a kiss, we get to the top, then it's huddle and cuddle time, and we just smell each other a little bit. It's a really weird routine we have. But my stance, my entire physiology is slightly different. When my kids are here and I'm in daddy role, my body moves slightly different. If my buddies come over for a braai on Saturday, and I know we're going to probably drink too much red wine and we're going to get into a weird conversation, it's almost as if there's something that happens in my body. There's a different way of moving. Does that make sense? You guys, are you self-aware about your own life? When you're in communication with work people, you've got a physical stance, you stand different, your head posture, everything is different. When you're talking to your best buddy, there's a different physiology. We have got physical states. And these are all learned behaviors. There is a preempting for every state. There is a very subtle decision made. So in other words, as humans, we have an awareness of my new environment or situation or context or whatever case is going to happen. And my physiology then adjusts accordingly. So there is a awareness, a decision, a preparedness, and a manifestation. Make sense? Now, how do you know which one serves you when? Experience. It's through trial and error. In some cases in life, an aggressive body language, a physical stance, a challenging, even authoritarian stance serves you. In some areas of your life, a humble, submissive physical stance will serve you better. How do we decide? There lies the key. based on that opinion. And we react based on that. And that sort of starts creating a loop. Does that make sense, guys? In the same way of us having a physical state, we also have a mental state. And our mental states work exactly the same way as the physical state. A mental state goes through a process of I'm going into this context, this situation, this environment. This is the type of thought pattern or the way I need to tune my brain. We then actually make the decision, we apply it, we do it a couple of times, and then it becomes a habitual response. So for example, your way of thinking is different when you're in class to when you would be with a client, to when you would be with a loved one, to how you'd be with children, with your family, with friends, or like Yvonne getting drunk and dancing naked on the table. Your mental state adjusts accordingly. And we as humans actually have a wide variety of states, and we very often jump from one state to another quickly. What is the greatest influencer of your state? Your perception. Your perception of what you believe is coming. So this perception is always a future. So a mental state and a physical state is created now for something that's going to happen in a second or in the next couple of minutes. You getting it, guys? How do we choose that state? We choose the physical one and the mental one through perception. Now, here's the key. Is your perception accurate? So let's get practical. And I'm going to just go back because I love the topic. It's something that's critical in our world. Narcissistic behavior, especially inside of relationships. Now, what happens in a relationship very often? Two people enter into a relationship. One person starts, because they're narcissistic, they start very subtly, and I almost want to say seductively, taking over a control role in the relationship. And they start suppressing the other person. Yep. Now, the person that gets suppressed, how do you get suppressed? The perception you have of what's happening and what's coming tells you, I need to physically not be aggressive, I need to be withdrawn, mentally not challenging, but accepting. Is the perception true? Well, perception is true to the perceiver. Boom. But it's still based on perception. So now I have perception of what's coming. I now respond accordingly and act accordingly. Now interaction with whatever the source is creates a new reality and understanding and a belief. If I get away with it in the beginning, part of my brain goes, this is the way I should behave. I repeat the same behavior a few times. Now it becomes rooted in my subconscious and it becomes my default response. So the moment someone raises their voice, the moment someone acts authoritarian, the moment someone becomes selfish or starts manipulating, my physiology draws in and my state becomes a submissive state. Where in all of that lies the key. The key lies in two areas. Number one, how do you shape your perception? But here's the one I love the most. For the human brain to understand one side of a coin, it needs to understand the second side of the coin as well. One of the things I constantly teach in the classroom is if you can see a crack in a windscreen, the only reason you can see a crack in a windscreen is because you know what a windscreen looks like without a crack. If you are aware of a negative state or a state that does not serve you, the only way you are aware of that state is because you know what the opposite of that state is. Everything in our human world, exists in a duality. There's right and wrong. There's up and down. There's good, there's bad. There's left, there's right. There's young, there's old. There's hard, there's soft. Everything exists in duality. I'm getting deep here in the Masters this morning. Now, the fact that I've chosen a specific physical state, the fact that I've chosen a specific mental state based on the perception that was created, and even if that perception is accurate or not, the concept of the opposite of that state also exists inside of me. Because everything exists in duality. The struggle is, I'll be with you now, baby. I'm going to be with you now. The struggle is, and here's the thing you guys need to realize. The longer a state repetitively starts to manifest itself, the more difficult it becomes for the individual, for the person that's manifesting that state, to realize the opposite. So if you are, and there are people in this world, they regularly manifest the state of giggling. They just happy. You know who I'm talking about. Everybody's got someone like that in their lives somewhere. They're just permanently happy. Now, if you go 20 years of your life just being happy and everything just makes you smile, you actually forget how to really truly get angry. If you go long-term in a negative, non-serving state, it becomes extremely difficult for the individual to identify the flip side state. To say to them, well, what's the opposite, is all, you're probably not going to get an answer. So then what's the solution? You're probably not going to get an answer. The longer they've been in it, the tougher it becomes, the more ambiguous the opposite state becomes. Now, let's just understand something quickly. And again, Penny, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to refer quite a bit to the narcissistic thing. I like taking one kind of a topic and just sort of using that as a reference point. So let's take someone that's gone into a relationship with someone that they believe they love. They believe they love the person because the person was charming, said all the right things, did all the right things, and eventually, because a narcissist to a certain extent is, it's like a spider that entices an insect into its trap. So you've been enticed into that situation, you believe it's right, slowly but surely the narcissistic behavior will start to manifest without you actually intellectually or through clarity, you realize it. Literally, most people that realize that in a narcissistic relationship realize that only 10 years after. It's very seldom they realize it very early in the beginning of the relationship. But by this time, because it's been progressive and slow, but it's been repeated numerous of times, the opposite behavior is now hidden somewhere in your memory bank in a file that you don't even know where the cabinet is, the room where it's filed. So how do you help a person like that? Now, I'm not just talking narcissistic. I'm talking eating disorders. I'm talking levels of confidence. I'm talking about anxiety attacks. I'm talking about blatantly rudeness to protect yourself from people that might hurt you. People that might not deliberately self-sabotaging. All of these elements work on exactly the same principle. How do you help a person like that? Because the obvious flip side of the coin is not obvious anymore. There's only one way, real way. You need to be able to chunk sideways. You need to be able to chunk sideways. Now, what does that mean? It basically means that whatever state we have in our lives that manifests in a certain area of our lives, we will have the opposite of that state, but it might manifest in other areas of our lives. So let's take a different topic. Let's take someone that goes into anxiety, that suffers from anxiety. All right. Everybody that suffers from anxiety at some stage feels very comfortable and confident and happy. But the environment, the situation, the context where it happens might be different. So people might feel anxious when they're in a group of people, but when they're one-on-one, they're very confident. So the state of confidence does exist. Someone that, let's take someone that does a bit of self-sabotaging. They destroy their own appearances when they have opportunities to present themselves, or they do things in their businesses that's negative or whatever. There are areas in their lives where they actually do things extremely well and successfully. There is a state of excellence. Everything exists in duality. So even though the duality is not prevalent or is not fairly obvious, it exists somewhere in that person's life. Sometimes our job as the coach is to find that. Because if I can find it, and I can get my client to identify with that state, they can draw that state horizontally from that other behavioral experience into this environment. Makes sense, guys? Did that penny drop? Pardon that pun. We don't always have a penny in the class, so that this joke only works in this group. Right, Penny, you had a hand up earlier. You wanted to ask something? Do you remember what it was?
I'm not sure. You were talking about something exists in duality. You said everything exists in duality, and then you said something like you chose a specific state based on what was created, and then I lost what you said after that.
Through the perception.
Through the perception. Okay.
So let's take your topic that you talk about. Now, you mentioned it earlier, so I'm going to use this as an example. You were in a relationship with a narcissist for how many years?
41.
41, all right.
Oh, and I was raised by one. I was raised by a narcissistic mother. So
very often that happens. When you met him the first time, were you in love with him?
Oh, he was super charming and he did all those love bombing things. So I did actually fall deeply in love with him, yes.
Okay, let me explain something to you guys. The perception was that you were in love with him, right? Because the perception is your reality. The perception was created by what? By external information and events and internal programming. Because of the perception being created, part of your brain said, this is a good relationship and that is a good person. So what does a narcissist do? What are they really good at? They're really good at being charming in the beginning and slowly and progressively they pull you into their web of control. So they don't do it, they don't go from Mr. Nice Guy the one day and the next day they're nasty. It's a very progressive process. So how long did it take you in your relationship? I'm being practical here because I want everybody to grasp this principle, because this works in almost every area of life. How long did it take you, Betty, to wake up one day and realize, oh crap, I'm in a relationship with a narcissist? How many years?
Okay, so first of all, I had no idea there was such a thing as narcissism. I didn't know it was a thing. I met him when I was 16. He was already messing around, having affairs, cheating a bit iffy. I met a really nice guy at the hockey club. I tried to break up with a narcissist, and he threatened suicide. So he really had me so hooked that I couldn't, because I was too terrified to leave. Eventually, I married him, kind of knowing that this was not the right man. But I married him because my self-esteem was so low, and I didn't think anyone else would propose, and I wanted happy families and children and things. But talking about at which point I realized he was a narcissist, probably 3 years before I divorced him. So I just thought he was a cruel, horrible person who hated me, and I wasn't quite sure why. So yeah, I don't know what narcissism was. I never knew what I was doing wrong, and I was always to blame, and yeah, blah, blah, blah.
So you spent over 30 years in that web. Now, guys, this is an emotional topic for Penny. I'm sorry I'm bringing it to the surface, but I want you guys to start to realize the absolute critical concept. The longer you're in that scenario, the tougher it becomes for the mind to grasp the flip side of it. Now, I can tell you now, Penny, I can't remember the details of your story, but I can tell you guys something very clearly. Penny did not come out of it by realizing I need to change in the situation. The only way she could come out of it was by drawing sideways to other areas of life. You know what? That area of life, there are people there that talk to me with respect. There are people there that handle me properly. There are scenarios here where my voice counts. This is here. So it is a drawing from all of those areas where the flip side of the state is present. And we draw that into the current to empower us in the state. If you're dealing with someone's depression, anxiety, stress, low levels of self-belief, unnecessary fear, self-sabotage, unworthy feelings, low self-esteem, I don't care what they are. All the negative states have got flip sides that somehow, at some level, are manifest in someone's life. Our trick sometimes is to be able to chunk sideways and find them. Does that make sense, guys? Check Yvonne's attitude. Check how she's sitting. That arm up like that. It's like, I'm in control with this conversation. I just want you guys to know. She knows what I'm talking about. She's not sure. Yvonne? Who are you talking to now? It's a camera. Come on. Oh, it's so funny. Yvonne, come on. Oh, it was beautiful. Did you notice how your physiology
Sorry, Peter came to interrupt me because he's so heavy, busy in the salon with clients just overrunning him, and he's just telling everybody to pause, and now it's like, I can't anymore, and I'm like, and I'm busy here, and he's minding at the clients.
You went from, I'm uncomfortable, I'm trying to listen to what Dion is talking, it's deep shit on a Tuesday morning, I'm not sure I'm in control of this shit, what do you want? It was a complete, guys, I'm talking about physical states and emotional states. Did you guys notice the physical shift that you went through? Yvonne, now that I'm saying it, did you feel it? Can you feel it? Yep. Exactly what I'm talking about. Now, here's the key I want you guys to understand. and think about your own world for a moment. You need to become state conscious. There's a lot of people that talk about consciousness, and the word consciousness is a very popular word lately. But I want you to understand that you need to become state conscious as a master. Start to identify which states serve you and which states don't. And start identifying the states that serve you. What do they feel like? When do they manifest? And can you replicate them? Because here's a quick key. What if you pull them into all areas of your life? You guys get the ooh? What if you pull those states into areas of your life where you're struggling? Stephanie, give me a power state that you have. Give me an area of your life where you know I'm in control. I'm the bitch. I'm the king, queen, whatever. Give me one example.
I would say in the past, when I did nail training, and I just knew
What training?
I used to train people doing nails.
Oh, okay. You were in a good state. Can you remember that state?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, cool. I want you to hold on to that one. Laura, can you remember your state? What's a good state? Even a present one, a current one, or a past one?
When people tell me how they feel after hypnotherapy session, and that was good.
That's a good state for you. All right. Penny, give me a good strong state for you. Power state. I'm kicking ass here state.
My strongest state, Dion, is that I absolutely love to make people laugh. So I have started running laughter therapy workshops, and my best ever state is to just watch that energy lift and just create high energy, and to encourage, empower, inspire, and just really have a good belly laugh, and it brings all sorts of wonderful, happy hormones, and that's my good state.
And you feel that state happening now.
Yes.
And you feel that state happening now in you. All right, Yvonne, give me your state. Dancing naked on tables in a public on Friday night. Yeah. Give me your state. What's your power state?
Now.
Are you in a power state now?
No.
Right.
Now I'm in a worried. Now I'm in a state of just like wondering what's happening in the salon, and me sitting here and is he coping or not. And then my natural state is
go into your memory. Find a state in your life, even in the past, a power state, a state where you know I'm in control, I'm doing this, life is good, everything is happening the way it should. What is that situation? When does that state happen?
when I help other people. Then I feel in control. Like teaching them, learning them, or make them feel beautiful. And yes.
All right. Fatima, what's your state?
Well, I make a huge breakthrough with the client, or when I do a ecology check, and you know they're so happy, or they feel like they literally give you a good review in a way, then that makes me feel really great.
All right. So here's what's important. You need to be able to clearly identify. This is what state consciousness means. You need to be able to identify which are my power states, which are my good states, which are the states that really serve me, that I like being in. And what does those states feel like? Physiology and mental. So we're going to take a quick break. It's 12 o'clock, so we're going to take a lunch break, but you're going to have homework during lunch. You need to write down 10 elements that describes the state. physical and mental. In other words, what is the type of internal dialogue that I'm saying to myself? How do I physically stand? What do I feel in my body? Where in my body do I feel it? What is my internal dialogue? A couple of examples of statements. Find 10 identifiers about that strong state. You guys ready? That's your homework. So we're gonna take 30 minutes lunch, but you need to find those in during the lunchtime as well, and come back to the class at 12:30 with us. Yes, Steph?
Is it one state, or do you want us to do 10 states? One state
One
with
state.
10 elements.
One
10
state
elements.
with 10 identifiers about the state. Cool. Does it make sense?
Can I choose a different state?
You can choose any state. Just find a really great, empowering, awesome state. And here's the beauty of states, guys. States live in three places. They live in what's coming, so there's preparedness for the future. They live in the present, but they live as strong in your past. So you can go pull one from your past. Use memory to elicit and bring it to the surface and replay it in your mind. 10 identifying elements about that state. You got a hand up?
Me. So, dear, I just want you, in your break, here's homework for you, please. Could you please go and just read what I popped into the chat to you personally?
Oh, okay.
Okay, thanks.
I'll read now. I've got so many stuff going. Where in the chat? In a Zoom room chat or in a WhatsApp? Oh, I've got so much stuff going.
Sorry, I'm not. Can you see it?
Cool. Let me just see. I just wanted to ask if there's any attempt by various life coaching NLP training institutions to get coaching recognized medical aids. There's a lot of organizations that are really trying all over the world. They are struggling, and the biggest reason they're struggling is because the moment they allow life coaching NLP practitioners they need to, into the medical aid schemes. They need to allow any and every other alternative healing source in. So it's a matter of setting a principle. Yeah. Until NLP or life coaching is governed by government institutions, which they're not, it's an unregulated industry worldwide. Unless that happens, we're not going to get into the medical aid.
Thank you.
Which could be a blessing, to be honest with you.
Sorry?
I
It could
absolutely
be a
agree.
blessing.
Yeah, I agree.
It is a blessing at the moment for us, yeah. It is a blessing. What is happening is that there are, and this is something that I heard the other day. I personally haven't had that experience, but someone told me about it, and I was like freaking out when I heard it. There are corporates now in South Africa, for example. Corporates need to spend a certain percentage of their income on social development. There's a name for it. It's your community. What's its?
CSI.
There we go. Yeah, your cultural, social something.
Sustainability is in there.
Some name for it.
Yes, CSI.
Social responsibility.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Someone actually told me that they actually got a corporate to sponsor them to coach people, obviously in a specific demographic, and the company sponsors it through their social, what's that word? That social responsibility fund. So that was kind of cool that some corporates are actually going that route. So if you've got, if you've got any kind of connection with a corporate, try and get it.
Look, I mean, they reported in their sustainability report. That's where I was getting to it. They reported in their sustainability report, which is part of the King 3 standards for good companies in South Africa. So if you're doing that kind of social responsibility and sustainability, then that's more exciting to shareholders that eventually buy your shares. So the idea is to do good stuff for your staff. Hopefully, the shareholders would then pick your shares opposed to another company. So it does benefit them in the long run, though.
And there's a return on it from the government. Also gives them a tax benefit.
Yeah, it's like any other business service. They can claim it from tax before profit. So, yeah.
So there are some companies that do that. So if you've got some big corporates, I would say try that route. Probably the easier one. All right. We're over the time now for lunch, for being half an hour. So let's make it quarter to 1. We're back in the classroom. Homework is done. All right. 1:45 back in the classroom.